for joining us on tonight's episode of Behind the Spotlight. I am Crystal Lampett, and I am very excited to have some punk rock music in the studio today. We've got Hipshot Killer, and tell us a little bit more about this first song that you've got for us.
Well, it's called Gimme Something Better, and it's on our last record, which came out in 2016, called They Will Try to Kill Us All. And it's basically just about doing the best you can with what you have.
All right. Give Me Something Better by Hipshot Killer. Take it away, guys.
Thanks.
Sweetheart, gonna lose it. You won't take it. It's just a couple of days. No, I'm not that strong. I should lose hand size. Instead of breaking up. Please take the best of me. Sure you got enough. Give me something better where we go. I wanna see the sun on every road. Gonna find out consistent control. Give me something better when we go. Roll it up, but I can't get through. All this is in life that I share with you. Give me something better where we go. I wanna see the sun on every road. Gonna find out consistent control. Give me something better when we go. Just ain't concerned with this face you see. Don't walk away, leave me in the street. Just shine so bright, leave all the blood. Don't let this be all we'll ever know. Give me something better when we
That was Give Me Something Better by Hipshot Killer, and I'm so curious to know about the name. Where did
Yeah.
Hipshot Killer come from?
I used to drink a lot, and I would get these like half pints of Jim Beam, those little
Yep.
half pints, and I used to call those hip shots, because it's
Because
like a hip flask,
And you would put it on your
keep it in my
head.
pocket or
And whenever you need
jacket
one,
or-
you just...
exactly. Hip shot. And we were, the band was getting together and we didn't have a name yet. And so, of course, we're drinking during practice. And I
Of course.
finished one off and I was like, man, I'm really killing these things. It's like, Hipshot Killer.
Ah.
Yeah, and it wasn't the worst name ever. At this point, I'm kind of a little bit like, I wish it had been inspired by something, maybe a little bit more.
Positive and uplifting or
Not,
something?
well, not necessarily positive, but just something, I don't know, different. But
Isn't that how most band names come about, though?
Most of them do, yeah.
I think a lot of them they're inside jokes, or it's just something that you, like random words that you put, like those generator things on Facebook now. It's like the last
yeah.
thing you ate and
Next to obtaining
a
a drummer,
color.
deciding on your band name is the most odious task a band can possibly
true,
do.
dude.
So
I
once
mean-
we got it out of the way,
Heavy on
that's
odious.
the name. You're done, and then you just ride or die. So.
But I mean, I've noticed you're pretty indecisive with song names. So did this, was this a process?
no.
Did you have any?
Only in the preliminary stages of the recording and writing of the material. Once it's done and on the page, it's done.
Almost
Once you've written it in pencil.
Well, okay, once it comes out on a record and,
Right.
and there's a title associated with that song on the record itself. Yeah, but that doesn't mean to say that the song on the set list, like the title on the set list, will change. Or just like go back to like what it was in the first place. Like one of the songs that we played tonight. I don't think Buddy's ever known the actual title of it.
You've called it the AC/DC song. I'm like, wait, which song is this?
And that's what he knows. So like on his set list, I'll just write AC/DC song. On our set list, it's the actual title of the song. And there's a couple of songs like that actually that I've just
pretty much all of them. I have my own alternate titles for every song.
Buddy has no idea what's going on. And you know what? These might all be totally different by the time this airs. So we'll keep you in the loop. But don't go anywhere. We've got more with Hipshot Killer coming up after this. By the end of it, it's going to be like, we're not even on the same page. Welcome back to Behind the Spotlight. We've got Hipshot Killer in the house tonight. And so we're just talking about how Buddy basically has his own set list. I mean, why do you think you're like the one who has to have his own special list of songs?
I just wandered in one day and sat down behind the drum set, and now they won't let me leave.
Yeah.
They've got my mother held hostage.
Sorry.
And, someday they'll let me go, but until that time.
She's being cared for.
Yeah, so
She's fine. She's being taken care of. She's getting some of your tips, or however you get paid. Well, you did have trouble though finding a drummer, right? I mean, this was a bit of a process. So, I mean, what did you put like a drummer wanted, and Buddy stumbled in one day?
No, luckily enough, we all played together in another band over 20 years ago now, called the Revolvers, for a long time. So we had known Buddy, for a long time in previous bands. So when it came time for us to find a new drummer, he really stepped up to the plate and actually, approached me about doing it, because at the time the band was kind of done with, just because we'd had really, really bad luck with a couple of other drummers.
Just like didn't work out.
Didn't work out.
They went through 50 drummers. And I'm not even exaggerating.
There aren't even
You're
that many.
so
There was 5.
There was
55.
There's 5 drummers in Kansas City. 5
Technically
of them, at least,
speaking,
in
there
their
were
own 10
5.
bands.
Well, and I mean that has to be frustrating too, because you're teaching every single drummer your songs, and then they finally learn them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I mean, when he originally approached me about playing, I was like, dude, I cannot teach these songs to another person. Like, I just can't.
Nope.
Like, I just can't. And then, luckily enough, he asked me a couple more times. I was like, all right, well, fine, let's try.
So what was it about Buddy? What was the special?
He's great.
The special quality.
He's great. Look at him.
Aww.
Just take a look.
Not only is he a great drummer, I mean, we'd known each other for years, and we'd played together and traveled together, and so it was a total no-brainer. It was like, well, of course you're going to play.
So how long have you guys been Hipshot Killer as the three of you with Buddy as the drummer? It's been a few years now?
It's going on 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years. Okay.
We played our first show with him almost exactly 3 years ago.
Nice. And then you are working on a new project, so your latest album. Do we have a name for it yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, go figure.
Even if we did, I'm going to change it.
Even if we did,
I'm going to be hitting you up. It's like, hey, can we put it? I got to put a different title on this.
At this stage, I do
there
think
are
you should
literally tens of people out there that are going to want to know
just
this.
tens, dozens, maybe dozens.
Yes.
You can say dozens.
High single digits.
I'll say dozens.
Maybe
After this,
just-
for sure.
We need to come up. Maybe you should just use like one of those generators and just be, just
No.
like leave it up to the Facebook generator.
I don't trust that.
No.
No.
Fair enough.
I don't.
What's
most
your
things.
Plan B band name? The Fluffy Butterflies? Is that what we
Fluffy
decided?
butterfly wings.
But you know
Yeah.
what? I like it. I think it.
What's to not like?
What's to not like about Fluffy Butterflies?
Sends up on social media.
Plenty.
We'll just go with whatever the first comment
Plenty.
is.
There you go. Yeah, help us come up with the band
There
name.
you go.
Help us come up with an
Crowdsource
album
this.
name. What are you in the process of doing? Like, what's the stage of the newest album? What are you going for? Kind of where's that?
Everything is recorded. We're just to the mixing stage. Just got to mix everything, put it all together, and
Wrap it up with a bow.
wrap it up, master it, and then put it out.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Yeah,
So-
it's been kind of a long time coming. I'm really excited about it because it was really the first record that we've done, as a band. Because the last record, a friend of mine just played on it. It's almost just kind of like a studio musician kind of thing. It was not like a band effort.
Okay.
This record definitely was.
So you feel like this one is a little bit more cohesive, and everybody has played their own part in it.
For sure.
Yeah.
How does that work? Like who does what? How do you guys pitch in?
I write the songs, and then I show them to these guys, and then we get in the practice space and bang it out, and then it comes out as it does.
You each have your own input, kind of decide.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Do you have a tradition or something that gets you into the creative mode?
Not anything specific, no. I mean,
You don't
it
have
just
like some weird backstage voodoo that you do?
no.
Sworn
no.
to secrecy.
We don't really need like a ritual to get ready for anything.
No.
Well, so, you know,
We're actually in a band with each other that we like everybody in our band, so it's like we're just happy to see each other and be on the stage and launch into it. It's an outlet. It's a release. It's psychotherapy for me in some cases. It's just fun to get out there and sweat and launch myself around.
give something. Oh, absolutely.
So it's, I mean, I actually look forward to gigs. Some people, like, eventually they're in a band with somebody long enough and they're like chewing on their own tongue. But
Why do you think that is? Because some people they get to that burnout stage where they're just like maybe, you know, it's the repetition or they've done it so much. What do you think it is about music that makes you still come back to the stage despite, you know, members changing, frustrations? I mean, there's a lot that goes into it.
We're just kind of all on the same page. We like each other. We like the same music, a lot of the same music. We're all bringing things to the table.
and we're not inflexible about that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
like Mike said, he writes pretty much everything, but he's not a dictator, and we can add input.
You're
and
not?
Yeah. We're all here to serve the song.
He's not self-assured enough to bully us into doing what he wants. And so what we can do is leverage his insecurities to impose ourselves upon his music and twist it to our will instead.
I like this because
Yeah.
you have you studied psychology.
Right,
and
exactly.
You've got all of these theories
Exactly.
and ways to manipulate people.
It was all just to prepare to play in the band with me.
Right, exactly.
So you're really the brains behind everything.
No.
What gave it away?
I saw that look.
Mike lays it out, and I'm like, that was an interesting choice. And then I make him second guess himself, and he comes back to the next practice, and it's completely different.
Let me do some.
He does do that, too.
Some really like passive aggressive, like
Very subtle.
that was a very nice.
Sometimes it's just aggressive.
Just aggressive.
That was an interesting choice.
It's kind of like saying like, oh, you're wearing that.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
look really good in that. You look good in anything.
Not a problem
though.
with this band. We all
You just wear black. This is your uniform. What is the weirdest thing that, you know, you guys have been performing for a few years now together. What's the weirdest thing that you have discovered about one of your bandmates?
Oh, I don't even know. I mean, well, like I
so
say,
many
we
weird
played
things.
together, you know, for so long years ago too that it's almost like we never really stopped playing together. I don't know.
Is there ever something that you're like, I didn't know that about you? Because I have friends that I've known for 10, 20 years that every now and then they'll say something about their past or an old job that they used to have or something random that I'm like, you lived in Africa? When did you do that? And I'm like,
Actually,
how
I did live
know?
in Africa.
He did. Yeah.
There you go. Well,
What?
what did you? Buddy didn't know.
He said he
Buddy's the
knew that.
last to know everything.
Also, Chris and I went to high school together, and we
Yeah.
started skateboarding together when we were
Like 14,
14.
years
So
old,
we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Wow.
I knew that, you know. I mean, because
There's
you
no
were the
secrets
kid that
anymore.
had just moved from England though, but you come from South Africa.
No.
To our high
Okay.
school.
California.
Tell me about this. So South Africa. What?
So my dad's job took us all over the place. So
What did your dad do?
He worked for an energy company, and so there's projects all over the world. So
Was it Black and Veatch by any chance?
no. Although it did end up moving us to KC, but they're not big.
Yeah.
So in order, from the time I was born until I moved to KC, I lived in Pennsylvania, Long Beach, South Africa, Joliet, Illinois, England, back to California, and then moved to KC in middle school, which is probably the worst possible time to move from California to anywhere. But you know what? Like, I thought I was going to be riding a tractor to school, and it turned out that that's not the case. And
Yep.
I slowly fell in love with Kansas City and put my roots down. So
That sounds very. I moved here from Thailand in middle school.
Oh wow.
So no more beaches, no more sunshine. I mean, it was
you
just.
can empathize.
I
This
can
is good.
empathize.
Yes.
Yeah. At least to that degree. So.
But when you move from a place that's so culturally different, you have a hard time falling in with a crowd that understands you. And there was a microscopic but loyal and supportive punk rock and skateboarding community in Kansas City at the time. I ran into the right people at the right time. I skated with them. I went to shows at the Outhouse in Lawrence, Kansas before it turned into what it is now.
Hey,
Took me to my
the
first outhouse show.
I took Mike to his first Outhouse show.
Right. That's right.
Back when it was all spray paint and not glitter. And
Before.
and that's where we grew up. And that the Outhouse had been around for forever. I mean, Buddy's band was playing shows there, and we were going and seeing Buddy's band, and then we'd see other bands, and then we'd be in bands, and we'd play on this rotting piece of plywood, but it was like our tribe, you know. It was.
So how long have you been performing then? Because that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, right out of high school, so.
Well, I mean, I've had a bass in my hand since I was 16 years old, and I'm 44 now. So I mean.
So it started. I mean, so would you say that it was one of the things that kind of brought you into the music fold was that you're kind of a transplant.
Right.
You come here, you meet the right people, and music became.
Well, and the barrier to entry in punk rock is nil. Like anyone can pick up a guitar and make punk rock music, and it's varying degrees of good.
I mean, not anyone.
No,
anyone.
Literally.
You totally could.
Okay.
Could I be playing punk rock in 5 minutes?
Really?
I'm trying to do it with
I
my
might take you
daughter
up
now.
on that.
Your
So,
band would be huge.
You're trying to get
I'm
your
working
daughter
on my
into
daughter. My
punk
9-year-old is
rock?
going to be playing My Generation before the end of the summer.
What does she play? She guitar, bass?
Nothing yet, but it'll be guitar. and I'm working on my son on drums. But like the barrier to entry is zero. Anyone can pick up a guitar, bash on a drum set. Will it be listenable? But you know what? No one's going to give you too much flack for that. Like you can't be in a wedding band and not know how to play. You can't be in a country band and not know how to play and just go on intent and honesty and earnestness. You can do that in a punk rock band, and then you get good later. And, to varying degrees, we've all gone through that. So.
Would you guys kind of agree with
100%.
this statement?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, totally.
I
Yes,
never thought
absolutely.
of it this way.
Absolutely.
That's the attraction. It's not the attraction for anybody, but
It's about expression.
Yeah, for those who do jump in, that's the fact that you're literally, there's no barricade when you go see a show. You're right in front of the band. Sometimes they're on the floor with you. There's no stage, and you're right next to the band, and they're like this to you. And if they know their songs, they're screaming in your microphone, and you're fine with that. There's no security guards, and it's equality. You're on the same level as your fans, and you're probably seeing their bands after you get done playing anyway. And so it's very egalitarian.
Do you find that sometimes you're there and you see people who are singing your lyrics and feel that sort of connection
Sure.
with the audience?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
great.
People will grab our mic stands and start screaming the chorus, and I'm like, fine. That gives me that gives me one chorus off to save my voice.
I'll take a break.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Take the reins.
Exactly.
I love it.
And they know the drill because they've been to a punk rock show. They put the mic stand back up for the next chorus, and I get to sing that one.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing all of your insight.
Thank you.
We will be right back with more Hipshot Killer after this. Welcome back to Behind the Spotlight. We've got one more song for you, and it is on the latest album that you guys are working on. It's called Perfect Midnight Sky. Tell us a little bit more about it. It was inspired by AC/DC. I know that much.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the music was for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go
it's
wrong.
it's just a, I don't know, midtown fairy tale, I guess.
Okay, I'll have to listen closely to the lyrics. And I do want to make sure before we get into it that everybody knows where they can find you on social media, online, and all that stuff.
Pretty much everywhere. Bandcamp is great for us. Spotify, iTunes, Amazon.
And you're on
all the-
Instagram too. You got
Instagram,
Hipshot Killer,
Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah. Okay, so make sure you guys
We're everywhere.
check them out. They are everywhere, and this one is Perfect Midnight Sky. Take it away.
Thank you.